Hey guys, Stealth here. Time for some conquests. 3v3 conquest with Psix, Hamel 90 and Booty on one side versus Cubelfast, Vote Vatican for something else, and Viper. Now, this replay was sent in by Bodhi, and normally people send in replays of their own gameplay. They want to emphasize something that they have to show. Bodhi didn't quite follow that route. He said, the guy you need to look out for is Psix. Because this game apparently is going to get really close. And at the end, we're going to see some very interesting action. So in this game I'm going to be following Psix instead of Bodhi, who sent it in. Now, we have of course the bridge which needs defending in Charlie. We have towards a hotel and Echo the standard town fights. And quite frankly, I have seen this map so often, and I have watched replays so often, that I could probably sketch a map of this map in my with my eyes closed. It is such an often played thing that I gotta say tends to get a bit boring. If I would have my say, I would get Eugen to make a few more map packs instead of just adding another 10v10, popular as they may be. Anyway, we have Bodhi going over to Hotel and Echo. I think that Chmel might be going there as well. How should we call this guy? Chmel 90. That's probably an abbreviation for something, but I don't know. We're just gonna call him Mel. Way easier. And we have over here to the right Psix with a defensive force going purely on defense on this bridge apparently. But he's using quite some expensive infantry carriers for that, the BMP-3. These things have some really nice weaponry. They have an amazing ATGM on them, and the ATGM on this vehicle is so damn deadly that they quite often pose a larger threat to my tanks than enemy tanks. Because they have a very good armor penetration, pretty good accuracy, and they have the range. They have 2800 meter range, and considering that you don't always have something that has 21 armor or more, you're going to take quite a bit of damage from these things. Especially if they attack in hordes, you're going to be in trouble. And not just that, the BMP can also be used to great effect against infantry. The 2A70 that you see there has 3 HE, a high rate of fire, which means that if the enemy infantry is at good range, you can still do a lot of damage. Should you come any closer to this thing, as an infantry unit, you're going to come up against the 2A72, which is a shorter, or let's say medium range autocannon. It still has 3 armor penetration at best range. So just keep in mind how much damage that you can do with this thing. Anyway, Blue 4 is off to a good start. They have already captured Dimitri. I think that these guys... Oh, they're actually bringing in CV now for Greg. But this is costing them points and it's going to go down quite fast. Unfortunately, a Vickers got destroyed here. Those of you who've been following me for a longer period of time know that this is one of my favorite units, and I hate to see those things get blown up. But Blue 4 has managed to make it across the bridge. They're actually pushing quite deep. They have a Challenger 1 Mark III, and it seems that Red 4 does not really have an answer. The T-80s over there, with 16 armor penetration, will not go through a Challenger 1 Mark III, and I'm not seeing any HGMs here. So it looks like Booty is slightly underestimating the amount of HGMs that were required to hold this bridge. Over to the right, we have Psix, who's showing off how dangerous these ATGMs, the Arcans, can be. And not just that, the long-range fire, that's the 2A70 that I just described, is nailing these Deckungsgruppe from the Germans. They are really going down fast. High rate of fire, and you have 6 or currently 4 vehicles firing at you. Marder 1A3s are trying to return the favor, but with their missiles, those Milans, well, I usually don't worry too much about them when I see them. Usually when I see Fuchs Milans or the Warrior Milan versions, I'm thinking, okay, this guy might not entirely understand the game yet. Because more experienced people, more experienced players will save the cost that the HGM is normally going to go. And they're going to go, okay, well, I don't need that kind of capacity. Look at how many HGMs were fired, by the way. I don't need the Milan capacity. The Milan capacity is worthless, so I'm just going to pay 5 points less for my transport and possibly increase my availability. And here's another ATGM. And it finally hit something. Well, it only took you 8 missiles. Not to worry. The Eagles fortunately made it out alive, and the only thing that they managed to kill was a 5-point empty LBV, and considering its conquest, that didn't even get them anywhere. Now, towards the middle of the map, we seem to be having a bit of a struggle for Red 4. They do manage to shoot down a jet, but that's pretty much all that can be said for the middle. Nice kill on the 25 SK. Beautiful shot on that Leopard, but I'm afraid... Yep, there we go. It went down. 19 Panzer Grenadiers versus 8 LSTRs. Now, these guys are really good at what they do, but the Panzer Grenadiers have some very good anti-infantry capability. So I don't see them holding on to this side of the river for much longer. An F-111C is coming in. Oh, this is gonna hurt. Oh, look at that. That's a lot of very good infantry down the drain. Spetsnaz grew over there, a couple of VDVs. I'm not seeing any recon. The recon that was there with, of course, the Spetsnaz grew and they just died. But you gotta make sure you have more recon. Mel is now bringing in a T-90S to go and engage the Challenger 1 Mark III, should they be able to find it. But then again, they need the spotters for that. Over towards the right, the situation seems to have died down, but the BMPs are still kicking. And they managed to kill another Leopard 2A1, I believe. So they are definitely getting a lot of kills here. But they are very, very much in the open. And this is a beautiful artillery or airstrike target. Let's see, suppose that an airstrike would come in. You'd probably lose the jet, considering there's 2 Bucks over there. And 1 Tunguska and an Igle. Well, still, if at all possible, try not to park your 35-point infantry transports, which are by now elite, with the infantry inside, in the open. It's not really generally beneficial for your health. Let's see if Blue 4 can see them. Blue 4 can in fact not see them. Blue 4 is lacking a lot of recon. Look at that. There's 1 BGS. There's 1 ASLAV. This entire bridge is one massive gap, although the ASLAV 25 coming in might be trying to prevent that leak, that big gap that's over there. Blue 4 is now pushing on Red 4, and they are gaining terrain, as I don't see the infantry over here sticking out for very long. We've got some more units coming in, a DHS? One that got damaged at that as well. Not sure how it got damaged, it probably flew back to base to get rearmed, but for some reason it's not been repaired. We've got number 35 trying to help out, but I believe that they had at least 1 Gepard over there. So it's going to be a real test of their skill level to see if he can keep this thing out of trouble. So Mi-35 is coming in. Kokon flies in, nails the Martyr. Leopard 2A4 on the other side. This one is now taking fire from the Gepard A2 there. He tries to get a missile in, but he panics, and so much for the helo. Unfortunately. Alright, what else is going on here? A whole bunch of Leichtschützen. They're not doing very well. Panzer Grenadiers are almost gone, but I wouldn't be surprised if Blue 4 already has a lot of reinforcements en route. Red 4, correction, 6 is now pushing right across here. I'm wondering if Blue 4 can see that. Well, they can see the BMP 3s, but nothing else. He even managed to smuggle a BRM-1K across, and these things have some exceptional optics on them. It's surprising that he cannot see anything, but very interesting at the same time, because it means that Blue 4 has a massive gap in their lines. And he's trying to exploit it. The thing is that he needs to be able to defend it with against airstrikes. If not, then this is going to be a very, very short-lived push. Look at that. Empty LBV. Screw it. I'm not taking the bridge. I'm just floating over. Floating for these things is a pretty slow process. It's 30 kph. If I'm doing amphib ops, I'm trying to get vehicles across that have an amphibious speed of 50. There's not too many of those. Of course, the crossing is not too bad here, but the faster you can get across, the faster you can pick up your speed again. And this MTLBV just does not give a shit and drives right across the bridge, completely unchallenged. Guys, let this be a lesson. It's nice and well to defend this bridge, but there is this bridge that also needs defending, and that is sometimes overlooked. If you overlook it, that's fine, but you will be paying the price. And you can see that 6 is pushing a lot of forces right across this bridge. Bombing coming in. I think that the Rezvedkas got spotted. Yep, Rezvedkas got killed off. Blue 4 is still gaining quite a few points. They're already at 108 versus only 3 for red. And it seems that Mel... Oh, Mel, what are you doing? I understand you want to cover this position with AA, but driving it right to the front line might not be the best way to operate it. A couple of Motostrelkies are coming in from this group of BMP-3s. There's the book taken out. He's got another group of Rezvedkas sitting right out there in the open. He probably doesn't realize that. The Rezvedkas got dropped off by the MTLBV, but they did not go into cover. Seed comes in, nails one book. The other book tries to retaliate, does not hit the ECR whatsoever, and is now almost out of missiles. You need to start smuggling some AA across. And unfortunately, Tungushkas are not amphibious units, so that means that you're going to have to go over the bridge. But the bridge seems to be subtly in control of Red 4. If they could get one recon unit over there, that would be extremely useful. So maybe they can get this BRM-1K across. But getting this thing across safely is going to be a bit tough. Look at that, BMP-3 is doing what they do best, providing long-range fire support for their Motostrelkies, but look at the range of these guys. That 2450 meter range means that they have more range than your average tank, or actually than any tank, and they're just using it to abuse the infantry right now. Of course, they wouldn't be very well against tanks. 3 HE is probably not even going to fire at a tank unless you tell it to attack ground. But for a situation like this, nailing infantry, well, that's a bit overdone. Going with 3 Arcans after a Saxon. Anyway, using your BMP-3s to provide fire support for your Motostrelkies is excellent. That's what these things were designed to do. Blue 4 is now surrounding Bodhi's Wachtregiment over here. Panzer Grenadiers on all flanks. Martyr 1s sitting out in the open. Yep, he's now calling for help, and it looks like there's not too much help arriving. They're trying to recapture Cheriton first with a couple of MI4s. A couple of one BTR, 2 more coming in. I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to go right across. Another aircraft coming in, another tornado. That nails the second book. The one that, no, it nails a different unit, a different book. Mostrelki 90 are getting destroyed. The question is by what? There. Looks like an ASLAF 25 to me. It's the ASLAF 25 recon version. You also have these in the US deck as a 25-point standard vehicle. They are getting engaged. One is down. Mostrelki 90 against a warrior. My money's on these guys. Let's have a look. Warrior is nailing the BTR. Oh, they're engaging the infantry first. That's a mistake. You need to tell this thing to kill the warrior. It's way more dangerous than the Fusiliers. Yeah, unfortunately that happened. Still, they still have that beachhead over on the other side of the river. Blue is still gaining points. Currently at 164 and gaining. And I don't see Red 4 making a comeback anytime soon. Over towards the left, Blue 4 is now flying in reinforcements, or at least resupplies, trying to reinforce their position. And I think they threw quite a lot of infantry on this position. So I'm wondering how much they actually have left. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not too much. 15 Fallschirmjäger 90s. I saw a Gepard. I saw some Panzergrenadiers pull back. If you see one of these things land, by the way, make sure you hit them. They're worth not so much in the sense of points, but they will save you a lot of points later on. Because if you kill this thing now, that means that the infantry that's coming with him, or that's being reinforced by it, is going to be not so much reinforced. So that you're not going to be facing a group of 20 Panzergrenadiers, but just of 6, which is what we just saw walking through. A couple of Specialnies and LSTRs are doing what they can. But I think that Bodhi over here might be relying a little bit too much on his high-level infantry and does not have enough spammable stuff. The T-72 M1K, the command tank, is now actually getting involved in trying to suppress the Panzergrenadiers as they're coming out of the structure. This is a big red flag saying, look, here is my command vehicle. And trust me, Blue can see that. They can see the command tank. They just don't have anything and can reach out and touch it yet. But they're trying to get a Leopard 2A1 into position. How good is their flank? Pretty bad. Pretty bad. You could drive a BMP-3 right across Dimitri and then right into Jot. If I was Blue, looking at it like this, I would be really, really worried. I would go, oh shit, we have lost a lot of stuff. We do not have control of the bridge near Dimitri and Anna, this one. And they're floating infantry across every now and then. Be very, very concerned. The way that I would counter this is to get a little bit of reconnaissance in, preferably ground-based, probably infantry. Because any kind of AA-based infantry, AA-based recon seems to get killed off really quickly. And this means that the AA option is pretty much impossible. Although they did manage to get the ECR out and kill a couple of books. It's going to cost them a lot of infantry as well. First off, get your recon. Second level, get your vehicles in. Third level, get some tanks for fire support. And do not continue with the airstrikes, because you're losing a lot of airstrikes. So make sure you get eyes in, suppress the infantry, and cut off this river approach. Although against a load of BMP-3s, you're going to have to come up with something that has either a lot of armor or a lot of capacity to take hits or to reach out and touch them. So HGM units of your own, which are usually not going to be good enough, or mortars. Make sure you have some mortars for fire support. Anyway, I'm going to switch back to red, as 6 is actually getting quite deep into territory. This is where I would position my blue for recon, and he has quite cleverly captured that already. Wow, a triple stack of Centurions. Really, how do you see that working out? They don't have that 24-50 meter range anymore. It looks like Mel and Bodhi are trying to do what they can, but again, Mel is also bringing quite high-priced infantry. VDV 90s at 25 points a pop, plus transport, making them 30 points per selected squad, are very expensive. And although you have a lot of income, this is not quite sustainable, no matter how good the infantry is, and especially if they don't even manage to make it to a structure, which Blue 4 is making very, very difficult to do. Leopard 2A1 in a perfect positioning. Leopard 2A4 is currently suppressing the Spados over there. And their transports, unfortunately, are not able to do anything useful against the infantry here. All the VDVs is getting butchered. Over towards the right, the Rozvedkas are now spotting the Gepards, and again you can see the usefulness of the Arcans here. BMP-3 is doing some beautiful work. If I was managing these forces and looking at the forces that I have, I'm probably operating right here. I would micromanage these BMPs, because those Arcans are too valuable to lose. What you just saw was that he fired 3 Arcans into 1 Gepard, a 4th Arcan hit, and he just lost 3 Gepards, or 3 Arcan missiles to that. You don't need that many. Just make sure you disable the Arcan missile on a couple of your transports, so that you have the missiles when you need them, instead of finding yourself needing missiles desperately when you don't have them available, when they've all been fired and either missed their target or just got abused early on. Now, Blue has managed to capture Elena, in the sense that the command tank has been forced to retreat. There's really nothing defending this command tank anymore. Just a strop and a little bit of infantry. They tried to do a bombing run probably on the last known position of the command tank. They should know that they already have the zone so that the command tank is left. Look at the amount of forces that Blue has over here. There's still the 53G. Martyr 1s. Looks like a Leopard. 2A4, I'd say. Yep, 2A4 providing fire support. If you are in a position like this, such as Blue is at the moment, you don't need expensive tanks such as the 2A4. The 2A4 is really, really good at killing off enemy transports and enemy vehicles, such as heavy tanks. But in a position like this, where you're just dealing with infantry at medium-long range, get some Leopard 1A3s, or Leopard 1A2 even. Decent rate of fire, dirt cheap. They're only, what, 30 to 50 points? And they can definitely do the job that you need them to do. Now, P6 is trying to push into Anna, and that is not as easy as it may look, because Red 4 does not have a lot of ground-based vehicles, not a lot of fire supports. I'm talking tanks mostly. And in this situation you could argue, well, a tank is not a fire support unit. No. But in this case I consider them fire support, because that's the job that they're doing for me. They're providing support to units as they're advancing. Now, my bet would be that there's a V is somewhere over there. And units that would be really useful for P6 right now would be mortars. Getting some mortars across, really, really useful. Mortar 1A3s. We're getting pounded on by the two T80s over there. And another couple of missiles got lost, unfortunately. These are even better missiles. Conquer M. 23 armor penetration. These things have less armor penetration, but I believe they fly faster. And of course the BMP-3 with its 2 different autocannons, or main gun and autocannon, whatever you want to call it. I prefer those over the BMP-2. Although this thing is still a very formidable fire support vehicle for the infantry. T-80s are trying to push across, getting punished by the Deckungsgruppe that have survived all of the onslaught. You can again see the long range that the BMP have. The BMP managed to hit the infantry from all the way over here, killing them off and saving the life of that T-80. Blue, currently 400 points. If Blue would push across here with a helicopter offensive, they could probably do it. They could probably get all the way to Gregory and into Fedor and then pop around, kill the command infantry in Boris and be done with it. Whoa. Viper is responding with a quad stack of Leopard 2A1s. And you again can see the good work that these BMP-3s are putting out. Their missile is not entirely capable of penetrating the whole armor of the tank. It will do damage to it, and quite a lot at that. Shu-25K flew over trying to help out. There's another Leopard kill. This is what I was talking about. Make sure you don't waste your missiles, because these are the situations when you need them. Beautiful kill on the command unit, or sorry, on the fighter there. I have to start picking up their pace if they still want to push this game back. Trying to get that 27S out of here right now. Deckungsgruppe engaging the Motostrelki and the BMP-2. Again, the BMP-3 is trying to help out there. They do not quite have the range. And the Lynx 3 over there now considers these things so damn dangerous that he's putting a Lynx 3 forward to engage the BMP-3s. They're quite expensive missiles, those Hellfires, and on the one hand I would say don't waste them on BMP-3s, but from 6 perspective, if you can get them to waste Hellfire missiles on your BMP-3s, by all means do so. Perfect use of these vehicles. As the Arcan is their main weapon, they have sort of outlived their usefulness when they're empty. And of course you can rearm them, you can resupply them, but if you can make sure that your, let's say, 120 point tank survives, because the Lynx ran out of missiles killing off cheaper transports, then by all means go ahead. Now the command infantry got hit quite hard over here. They're panicked, they're down to 2 units. Tunguska took a little detour into the fire. By capturing or neutralizing Anna, they have managed to neutralize the push or the continuing drip feed into blue. Leopard 2 trying to push in, but probably no recon here for Viper, other than low-flying recon helo, meaning that they are not going to be very effective. They did manage to neutralize the command infantry again, so they are again getting a +2. Over to the west side. Oh, come on, Bodhi, push that T-72 in. There's enough cover, you need to neutralize that +1. Even if it is just reducing it to a +1, that's perfect. Wagenregiment over on the front line does not really have the armor penetration to go through 2A4. The RPG-18 will always do a little bit of damage, but you're going to have to fire a ton of those things into a 2A4 to get it to back off. And I think that this push over here is really their best hope. Let's see if they're bringing in... Yep, there's another CV coming in, another BMP-1K. I'd say that this deck is pretty BMP heavy. You can see the BMP-1Ks, I saw some BMP-2s, BMP-3s. More Martyr 1A2s coming in. Immediately getting assassinated by the BMP-3s there. And there's the command vehicle. If they can kill the command vehicle, preferably with an Arcan, making sure... Oh, they get hit while they're firing the missiles. These BMP-3s are going to have to go with their main gun to hit the Iltis over there. They're again getting stunned. 27% accuracy. The Su-25K manages to nail it. Even if you lose it right now, that would still be worth it. He's probably going to lose it. Yep, 2 Eurofighters came in, nailed the Su-25. But Red 4 has gotten at least a little bit of respite, because look at that. Blue was within 6 points of victory. 6 points! And Red is now, well, I'm not going to say they're doing great. And again, if Booty would push this CV in, they would at least start gaining +1. But otherwise this game would have already been over. Another group of BMP-3s pushing in. Again, killing off a command... No, not a command helicopter. Just a helicopter. More missiles going in. Another helo died. The Leopard 2A1's the real threat there. As I believe that those 53Gs aren't even armed. More missiles going in. And on these open fields, these plains, these missiles are absolutely perfect. And these are the ideal vehicles for this job. Look at that. Panzer Grenadiers probably got dropped off by the helicopters. And they are just getting instantly wiped out by the BMP-3s all the way from over there. Here's the command vehicle. And it seems that Blue may be running out of infantry. Considering the amount of infantry that they are, or they have been feeding into this zone, I think that they are no longer focused on this zone very heavily, or they've run out of infantry. They're probably scrambling to get some vehicles into this sector. Look at that. There's the command tank in position. There's the command vehicle for Anna, and now they're doing a +3. This hits very hard. If you keep this thing going for long enough, you're gonna win very quickly. Or at least, in a situation like this, you can force it into a draw. You won't win it, but you will force it into a draw. A lot of motor strokies, pretty much everywhere at this point. The one unit that I'm not really seeing enough of, again, is Recon. Although he has Razvedkas there, a BRM 1K, and more Razvedkas. But push the Razvedkas up. Get some optics. Another Iltis is coming in. It seems that the BMPs are out of missiles. All of them. So it's going to be down to the Motor Strelky to hit this thing. Red is down to a +1 advantage in income. MiG-31M as a fighter comes in, or as an interceptor. Eurofighter tries to shoot down the MiG-31. Does not get a hit. Then he's being forced to pull back. A duo flight of 27Ss comes in, nails the F4F. Immediately gets evac'd. More aircraft come in. A triple stack of Sea Harriers. No less. Su-27S dies. Bloody hell, that was an air war. Sheer amount of aircraft over here is ridiculous. Su-25 from Bodhi managed to neutralize the CV. Again, +3 for red. If they can hold on to this... Oh, this is going to be tight. Yep, he survived. If they can hold on to this, there's hope for them yet. If they can further push into Cheriton and at least neutralize the command zone, they're going to be even better off. Let's see if this B5 gets hit at all. Nope, nothing. Yeah, sorry, it did get hit. Large crater left by the B5. I'm not sure if there was anything in there. There probably was. Emphasis on was. Actually, let's keep it in neutral for a moment. Blue has no more infantry. At least not on this side of the river. We have some AA units. We have 1 tank. No recon. Wow. What's this guy doing? Kubelfass. He hasn't left. At least not that we can see. He's not fielding units there. He's bringing in some more ATGMs. He's probably fighting over here. Where is he? No, this is the Vote Vatican. He probably got hit hard here when the B5 struck. Let's see where their CVs are. There's one CV all the way over here. Command infantry, of course. It's pretty much the only CV that you can reasonably expect there. If you would want to get another bit of command points in, try to drop a B5 onto this territory. If you lose the B5, not a problem. Just make sure you hit this thing with everything you have, and a 3,000 kilogram bomb will definitely eradicate some infantry. Blue has put up quite a wall over here, but see if you can spot what's wrong with this wall. Because I'm seeing a Challenger 2, a Vickers Mark 11, a Gazelle, an AH-7 and a Lynx, but I'm not seeing any kind of AA. Fly in with 2 helicopters and you are toast. Talking about helicopters. Hello, Viper. Viper's trying to drop off some Fallschirmjägers over on the riverside. P6 seems to be ready for that. He's deployed 1 group of Iglas. Really cheap security policy, this. This guy has 6 missiles. They do 4 damage apiece. Let's see that you get 3 hits. Means you do a total of 12 HE damage. These things have a lot of hit points. They have 10 hit points each. So if he hits 3 times, he's going to nail at least one of them. There's the first miss. Hit. One's getting worried. Hit. He just hit the other guy. And at this range, they are not that likely to miss at 96%. There's a kill. Come on. Another hit. Yep, they're down. Total cost of this insurance policy was 20 points. That's it. 20 points. The amount of damage that did was significant. Because this is the type of helicopter that was used. That's a 20-point transport helo. 20 points. The infantry that's inside is, I believe, 35 points. So we're talking about 110 points lost due to 20 points of infantry and transport there. That's why you defend your shorelines. the meanwhile, we got Mel over here. He's trying to push up with a T-80U. Does not seem to have a lot of infantry recon except for the Rozvetkas. Maxis is slugging it out with the T-80U. If the T-80U can get a good shot in, that's pretty much game over for the Maxis, as this thing does not have a lot of armor. They're still getting a +3. Here comes an Su-25 from Bodhi. What's he trying to hit? It looks like a tank offensive here. He managed to kill off one tank. The AA was responding but didn't quite get the kill. Leichte Schützen are engaging with probable side shots. There's another Lux died. I think the 2A4 has died. Yep. Perfect ambush by the Leichte Schützen over there. They are slowly but definitely pushing across this river. And they don't need to go too much further to get the command vehicle there. And yes, I know it's a command infantry squad, but command unit is still a CV for me, abbreviated. 20 Panzer Grenadiers against 16 worried Leichte Schützen are going to be a bit of a challenge. It's not impossible. It won't be easy. I have to get set up in this building right now. There's still a structure or two in the way, so they cannot quite see each other. Over towards the right, we have some more reinforcements breaking in. We have Strela 10M, we have more BMP-2s, we got BMP-3s, Shilkas, and this position seems to be solidly under control. Now, if Red 4 would take a lesson from Blue 4, I would say try your own helicopter offensive. Either fly over the water, make a large arc, or fly directly through and see if you can find anything to kill. And you might be surprised. Red has managed to kill off the command infantry there. +4 at the moment, and Viper decided to leave. With just 5 minutes left on the clock, I'm not sure why he left. Because I believe that if you leave... actually, I'm not sure if he left. I mean, I'm sure he left, but he may have been disconnected. And that the leaving wasn't his own choice. Anyway, considering that he left, Kubelfass is now going to be managing a lot more forces. And Red 4 just has to sit back and wait. Slowly push on Blue some more. And the more they can lean on them, the deeper they can go into the territory, the more damage they can do and the more command points they can gain. A large flight of F4Fs coming in. Why would you want to have this much of an air presence? Isn't that a little bit after the fact? Ah, they're trying to nail the helos over there. The Mi-35s. The Mi-35s fortunately already dropped off their infantry, and they're just there to prevent... Sorry, yeah, these are gunships. These are not support or transport helos. LSTR's pushing in. A whole load of Wachregiment pushing in. German on German going on over here. Come on, get in the structure. Do not take fire from a Marder 2. Oh, these guys are not doing well. +5 currently for Blue 4. Sorry, for Red 4, as they now manage to push another CV in there. There's nothing defending the CV, but Blue is just not spotting it. And just 3 minutes left on the clock. A +5 is going to end this game rather quickly. There, Vatican surrenders, and you can see that he actually surrendered and then left the game. I think that Viper disconnected. Now, I believe that you do get a disconnect if you rage quit, so if you press Alt F4. Otherwise, it might have been an involuntary disconnect. So something may have happened with his computer, something may have happened with his internet, I don't know. At any rate, we have just Mel left, and with 2 seconds left on the clock, this replay is done. Look at that. A draw. Where Blue 4 seemed to be doing so incredibly well, Red 4 has, in the end, managed to get a draw out of this. With just 6 points left in the difference, they have managed to pull it back and not just a little bit, not into a minor defeat or a major defeat. No, they put it back into a draw. Well done to Psix over there. Look at the kill and death ratio that he got there. The other guys were really struggling to hold the town. And I think, again, that the main issue there was that they just did not have enough cheap infantry that they could push there. Anyway, that's it for this game. I hope you enjoyed. I definitely thought it was really enjoyable to watch, to see how Retro would come back from this massive impending defeat. And they did an amazing job at that. But let me know what your thoughts are. Maybe you have some more interesting tips for the guys playing so that they can improve their gameplay. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll be sure to see you soon for the next video.